Where's the best lighting? Where's this dark spot? All right. How's it going, everybody? I'm going to be doing some Akashic Records readings. So if that interests you, you can hang around. If you want to get a reading, they're donation based, and you can just donate any amount. And the link is in the description of this live. But yeah, how's it going? Also, if you're watching this on the playback and you want to get an Akashic Records reading, just shoot me an email or a YouTube message or Instagram message. Just reach out to me in some way and we can set something up. So we're doing Akashic Records readings today, and Akashic Records readings are basically when I intuitively channel messages from your soul. So everybody has a certain spiritual blueprint, a certain energetic blueprint that dictates what happens in this life. But a lot of the time, they're disconnected from their actual spiritual blueprint, and they're going along with what their ego thinks that they should be doing. And when people are stuck in their ego's paradigm, they get, basic level results. But when you actually align and listen to the spiritual paradigm, and you actually align and listen to your truth, your authentic truth, then magical things start to happen. And that's why I love teaching Akashic Records readings, is because they help people understand where they should be focusing on. Because a lot of the time people are focusing on the completely wrong area of life. An example of this could be somebody that is trying to manifest $1 million. So they think they need to work on their abundance blocks. So every single day, they're doing their abundance meditations, they're going over their ancestral abundance blocks, and they're still not getting results. Why might this be? Well, often we're not quite ready to work on certain blocks, and our spirit has a plan for us what we should work on first. And when we try to go against that too much, then our life gets a lot more difficult than it needs to be. But when we actually are able to flow with life and figure out what we're actually supposed to be working on, then things usually go really smoothly. And this is when you have light bulb moments. This is when you have channelings or downloads. This is when you have flow state moments where you just really easily do something excellent without really trying even. And a lot of the time we're struggling trying to get to these higher states of consciousness, but what we really should be focusing on doing is just simply figuring out what we're aligned to be working on. It doesn't mean everything will be easy either, just because we're aligned to it. Sometimes we are stuck in a paradigm where, things just are difficult, and that's okay. But the more we can listen to our soul's actual blueprint, the easier things get. So, for example, your soul actually might be telling you it's time to work on your inner child. It's time to allow your inner child to return back. And it's time to play again with life and to let loose and not take things so seriously all the time. And to take deeper breaths. you know? But instead, you're focused on trying to manifest your soulmate. And it's okay. We've all been there, I think. But it's so important to listen for what we're actually working through. It's kind of like in a video game. You don't want to be working on trying to complete the final level if you haven't even completed level 2. You got to work on level 2 before you get to the later levels. And you might not even know what level 2 is. So you've got to actually tune in with your higher self and your soul, follow your intuitive guidance, and that's what leads you there. So with these Akashic Records readings, what we're doing is we're checking in with your soul and figuring out what exactly you're supposed to be releasing right now. Because a lot of times people are stuck trying to release something that they absolutely have no reason to be releasing. So that's one of the main things. The other thing is tuning in to people that have drained you. So tuning into maybe people that have energetic cords that are stuck and are draining you. Because these people with these energetic cords that are attached to you, it's kind of depleting a lot of the purpose of your meditations. A lot of times when you meditate, you're building up all this beautiful, amazing energy. And then you go to, spend some time with your friends or something, and this one person just drains you. And that can really deplete your entire meditation for the day. So you think you're meditating every day and you should be moving forward, you should be attracting more, you should be tuning into a higher frequency, but things are staying the same or even getting worse. And that's because people are harvesting your energy. It's a really sick problem that happens all across a lot of different areas of life. People siphon your energy by feeding you bad food. They siphon your energy by feeding you bad content that treats you like a data collection pool. They treat you like less than human, and it's basically disrespectful energetically. And when we're engaging with a lot of this stuff that's kind of disrespectful to our psyche or just like overstimulating, then we start losing the actual importance and the meaning of life on the deeper layer. And we start getting hyper fixated on the stimulation that we experience. So it's so important to understand that people are draining you, habits are draining you, a lifestyle that you might ascribe to is draining you, certain beliefs you might have might be draining you. And with Akashic Records readings, we can tune in to what your soul is actually experiencing and figure out where these blocks are and figure out what you need to do to release it. Also, for those of you listening, if you want to ask any questions about spirituality, about manifesting, I'm a full-time spiritual coach. I've been doing this full-time, paying my rent from this, paying my bills from this for 5 years. Exactly 5 years, basically, because I started June 2020 during COVID. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, just leave them for me in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them. I'm also just kind of getting started in my day, so I'm still a little tired, but I'm waking up. My mind's getting active. My spirit's getting active. And yeah, I've been loving doing lives lately. It's a great way to just share some value without really having an agenda. I don't really have content to teach you, but I could talk about so many things and answer so many different kinds of questions. Yeah. And we also have a free community called Circle of Wisdom where you can meet other spiritually inclined people. And we have mentors that help in fitness, in finance, in spirituality, and in relationships. and they host different Zoom sessions that are kind of like this call or this live, but they're on Zoom. And, we have like 30, we almost have 40 members right now. So if you've been feeling that call to be part of more spiritual type community and connect with your tribe, then it might be a cool place to check out and see if you resonate. And that's also the link in the description. And yeah, that's totally free. The free version has 1 to 2 free sessions every month. And then the paid version has like 5 or 6. Plus you get the free session. So it's like ends up being 7 or 8. Yeah. Let's see. With one thing I've been doing a lot lately and helping a lot of my clients with is helping people call their energy back. Because like I was saying, people can drain you. You can also kind of undrain yourself to a certain degree. As long as they haven't distributed the energy and destroyed it, you can call energy back to you. And calling energy back to you it's almost like a shortcut for the process of spiritual healing. It's not really a shortcut because it's very in alignment and harmonious, but it's a shortcut for a lot of people because they give away so much of their energy and then they think they need to regenerate it all. But if you just command what's yours back to you, like let's do a quick exercise. If you'd like, just take a couple of deep breaths. And now imagine a couple inches above your head, there's a golden ball the size of a beach ball. So it's like 2 feet wide. And I want you to imagine that you're carving your initials into this beach ball of energy. So for me, I'm carving my initials. And as you finish that, from there, just imagine your voice is saying, I call all my energy back to me that belongs to me now. Whether it's good energy or bad energy, whatever is mine, I call it back to me now. And then imagine it's like a magnet and it's drawing back all of your energy from all the way across every corner of the universe. Everything that truly belongs to you and should be with you now is now back with you. And it's being sealed and connected back into your aura so that you can process, integrate, and balance with your actual soul. I like to do that like every day. And you should probably do it every day too. A lot of people don't understand that spirituality operates on laws of consent. It's not seen in the physical because a lot of people just take things from each other and are very mean and destructive. But in the energetic and in the spiritual, everything operates on consent. And the only reason we have spiritual problems with other beings is because we are unconscious, which means we're not really able to participate in consent, right? Just like in real life. So we go into the spiritual energy. And we actually have to tune in with what we truly are setting our boundaries for. A lot of people never set spiritual boundaries. They maybe set relationship boundaries, but you've got to project energetically what your boundaries are. And if your boundaries are that you demand that your energy comes back to you, then your energy will come back to you. A lot of people don't realize they're drained simply because they have not set the boundary that they want to keep their energy. And they've unconsciously fallen into patterns of giving away their energy on purpose. It's like they are giving it away, but they don't realize they're giving it away. So it's not truly consensual, but it's kind of on a layer is energetic consent. So people get stuck in paradigms because of unconsciousness. A lot of people live in so much agitation. And it's kind of jarring, to be honest. Especially the more spiritually awakened you are. Hmm. Just kind of meditating, tuning in because there's no one in the live right now. For anyone watching on a replay. A lot of people live their life very disconnected from the truth and from nature and from their bodies and from their soul. So all they're doing is kind of like flopping around in the physical, and their soul is usually very stuck, and their mind is very stuck, and they just get caught into the same problems over and over again because they're in the same place and they think they're changing places, but they're really in the same exact place over and over again. You'll see it because they have the same exact relationship issues, they have the same exact financial issues, they have the same everything, Just small details change. And this is the sign of somebody that is actually energetically in the same exact place, and they're just kind of going around in circles in the physical. Even though, like I said, it sometimes looks like they're doing something, but they're really not doing anything at all. They're just kind of flopping around in the physical. And then other people are very mentally active, but they're just disconnected from the physical. So their mind is creating all these worlds and all these amazing ideas, but it's a little bit dissociated from what's actually going on in reality. So it's not able to be seen as valuable for people. People don't see it as valuable because it's too abstract for them, you know? Even if it's something gorgeous and beautiful or that could be adapted into something very valuable, if it doesn't land on the physical, if it doesn't land on the earth level, I'll say, because some of it's mental and emotional too, then people just won't get it. You know, you have to hit the culture on the nose, or else it just won't work. And you don't have to hit the central pop culture on the nose unless you want to be the most famous person in the world or the most transformational person in the world. But if you lead smaller movements and find what smaller movements are headed towards, and then hit the nail on the head of what those movements are heading towards, then that's actually how you serve people. I really love life. And I think that's why I've received so much from life. I think a lot of people don't actually love life. They just want stuff from life. And then they're like, I will love life once I have this. But I think the reason that I receive so much, sometimes I reflect, like, why do I get things a lot easier than other people? And why am I able to attract a lot more than other people are? And it's not because I'm particularly better than other people at things. It's simply because I personally think it's because I love life more. Because I've noticed a lot of my friends that really love life are just like me. They receive a lot. They're just like receivers. People just want to give to them. And then I notice people that are always stuck in a paradigm of lack. It's because they're kind of like living almost frustrated and living in this kind of like they're like demanding life to be a certain way for them instead of celebrating life for how it is and getting like really excited about the potential. And I'd say that's the main thing that separates people that kind of lose stuff all the time compared to people that build and gain and receive a lot is actually their love for life. And I mean genuine love for life, not just love for the good parts of life, but the love for the grind, the love for the challenge, the love for the turmoil, the love for the ups and downs. People that actually love what life actually is. You know, a lot of people love the best parts of their life. That's easy. Try loving the hard parts of your life. Try loving it all as like a beautiful recipe, a piece of the pie. You know, if you can love it all, then life will love you totally as well. And that's kind of the reflection. God loves you all the time, and you always have God's blessing, which is that you exist and you have access to God all the time. But life is different. Life is the feminine. Life is a reflection of you. Life does not give you what you deserve. Life does not give you what God wants you to have. Life just reflects what you are. And God wants you to learn how to have life reflect you back something beautiful. But you have to understand that life isn't here to serve you in the way God is. Life is serves you in a different way. It's like a matrix. It's like a belief matrix. God is different. God is the totality of existence and the source of all existence. So remember that while God loves you all the time and protects you, life only loves you when you love it, especially on earth. When you hate life or you're scared of life, life becomes scary, life becomes hateful. Life becomes to be hated when you hate life. So go around and like take an audit of like friends and family members and look at how much they have. And I don't mean like there's always the greedy person or like the hustler that finesses and takes advantage of people that has a lot, but you look at their life and they don't actually have a lot. Like people kind of don't like them that much. Maybe their family doesn't look that happy. You know what I mean? Like when you look at people that actually have a lot, and I don't mean financially only, but I mean people that seem like they have a blessed life, right? And I hope you can see how that's different, because there's lots of people with money, but people that are blessed are have better lives, and a lot of them have money because they're blessed, but some of them have average incomes and are still blessed. But look at the people in your life that you feel like, you know what, this person has a blessed life, and then look at how optimistic they are, and then just notice the correlation. Like notice the correlation between luck, abundance, and then people that are very grateful and very carefree and very enthusiastic. You know, it's a pretty strong correlation, and I'm not saying it's all manifesting. There's other aspects. People like that, so they give more to them. That's one aspect. People tend to like more people that exhibit those characteristics, so they tend to support them more. But it's an energy thing. Even that is energy. Even if people like you more, why do they like you? It's because of energy. So just think about that. I always think about that. Like if someone has like, let's say they had like $100 million, and there's two reasons most people would say, you know what, they deserve that. They totally deserve that. What do you think those two reasons are? And this is just my opinion, but I think the two reasons people will go, oh, they deserve to have 100 million. One of them is if that person is like insanely talented, like a genius, and they like invented some crazy thing that helps so many people, right? They did. So one side is they did something that is just so amazing and so helpful. Then you're kind of like, they deserve 100 mil. They deserve that. If they got there by screwing people over, or by like being in an industry that's not that, like by kind of abandoning their family and overworking, like you might not look at them and go, they deserve that. So hard work, we don't look at hard work as like deserving of hundreds of millions of dollars. But here's one thing that I think most people would agree. If you look at someone and they're just so grateful for what they have, there's like a thing in your nervous system that's like, they deserve that. Do you agree? Like, this is what I've noticed. If you saw someone that got $100 million and they're just like, I'm the luckiest person in the world, this is the best thing I'm gonna give to so many people, this is so, like, they know, they're humble about it, they like feel like it's the biggest blessing ever. I feel like those people, everyone, including like the angels and God, want them to be wealthy, want them to be rich, right? The people that we don't want to be wealthy are obviously people that do wrong, people that hurt people more than they help, or people that intentionally harm people and lie about, all sorts of stuff that's harmful. People that harm people. Everyone harms people here and there, I'm sure, and like by mistake, A lot of the time we harm people just with our words or our decisions. But there's some people that like they make money by harming people. You know what I mean? Like their job is to like harm more people and they'll get richer. Like for that, you know, we kind of look at that and we're like, yeah, you should probably not have any blessed thing in your life. Unless God blesses you with it, in which case I trust God. But we feel that we're like, we feel like they don't deserve it. Some people feel like really, really hard workers deserve it. I think most people feel like extremely talented people that have exceptional talent deserve it. Like if you see a basketball player that just is like the best, like Steph Curry, like he deserves to have as much money as he wants, really, because he's like he made people's like childhoods basically by being so good at basketball. So it's like, but you know, the people we don't really like, even if they're really talented, honestly, are ungrateful people. People that are like, oh, I want more. This isn't enough. You know, people that have that energy, even if they don't say it, people that have that vibe of like, like, like they're insatiable. Like nothing you could do would satiate them. They're just gonna always be hungry for more. I feel like people like that, when we see it, we usually don't see it. They usually are really good at hiding it if they're also very successful. But people like that, we don't want them to be successful. We want people we feel like people deserve success when they're extremely grateful. So think about this. So much of success is self-worth and feeling like you deserve it, right? So what do you think would help make you feel like you deserve basically infinite, like you deserve anything you want? Because there's two paths. You can either become the most talented person in the world at that thing, and then you kind of deserve hundreds of millions, billions, or access to whatever you want, right? But what's the other thing, right? And this is how we would actually look at ourselves is if you felt like I'm the most grateful person alive, like not in an ego way where you're like comparing yourself, but you just are, you're just grateful all the time. You would probably think that you deserve all the things that you're asking for from the universe. Does that make sense? So, one of the cheat codes to self worth is actually becoming super grateful. Because if you just look at yourself and you're like, I'm so grateful every day, and people look at you and they're like, he or she is so grateful for their life, you'll just feel like you deserve it. Other people will feel like you deserve it. And whatever you do will have a much higher percent chance of working. People honestly will sabotage you if you don't seem grateful. It's kind of weird. People hate people that aren't grateful when they have success. People expect people that aren't successful to kind of be ungrateful. But when people have more than them in their perception, but then they look ungrateful for what they have, people get really mad because they go, if I had that, I would be so grateful. They are so ungrateful. It's like when the celebrity is like, why do people come up to me and ask for pictures all the time? People hate that because it's like, how dare you complain about something that we all dream of? Even though it's not true, like it probably is annoying for a celebrity to get approached all the time by people. And we would probably be annoyed by that, but we just can't even comprehend it. And it just feels like ingratitude to the highest degree. So, yeah. And Leia in the comments was saying, my sister is that way. She attracts abundance. She's a very giving person. Yeah, exactly. It's people like that we kind of just expect. It's like they're gonna make money. They deserve to attract abundance. We even trust them more. We trust grateful people more. So when people say like be more grateful, it sounds so cliche, but it genuinely is one of the biggest like indicators of success. It's one of the biggest indicators of happiness as well. I won't say just success because hustlers also make success happen because they're brutally aggressive. But grateful people make success happen without even too much effort. And you can choose which side to be on. You can be the brutal hustler, knock every door down, and it will work, but then you'll have to retain that. You'll always have to be the brutal hustler that knocks every door down. You won't be able to shift to the chill person that receives a lot unless you let go of that paradigm, which might be harder later after you've already earned and enforced in your brain so much that you receive so much from this. So remember that, like, be careful when falling into the hustle paradigm or like the self-discipline paradigm. It's good to be disciplined enough to stay healthy and to do the things you need to do, but you don't need to be obsessively disciplined where it's actually OCD-esque. Because actual obsessive discipline is anxiety and it will trash your immune system actually in the long term. And so it's not worth it. Yeah, it's a lot better to just flow with the natural level of your life and become more and more grateful and just become a vortex to attract all the things that you want. It's a little bit harder and scarier, I'd say. It's easier to just go brute force. It's easier to just go, I'm going to do this insane amount of tasks every single work day. It's easier to do that. It's harder to actually surrender and go, I'm actually not going to work because I feel like I need rest, but I just know I'm going to draw the opportunity to me that I actually need without working. That's hard. That's harder than just brute forcing it. So understand that, like, if you do want to go the path of surrender and actually receiving based on your level of gratitude and harmony with the universe, where you live in harmony and you're able to receive more than you need with ease without really efforting that hard. You know, it's kind of scary. That's the path I'm on because I don't aggressively do content. I don't aggressively message people trying to get clients. I just kind of show up in service when I feel like it, and clients just kind of appear at the right time. But I will say it's scary at times when I'm like, should I brute force it? But it just doesn't work that way, you know? Um, you have to choose one side. You can't do both. You have to either let go and attract, or you have to hustle and hunt it down. And they're kind of polar opposites. And you could have two in different areas of your life, you know, but you can't do both within your career, I don't think. I think one gets in the way of the other. So if you even do them, it's hindering you more than it's helping, even though you might get results. Here's another tip that's coming through. No matter how spiritually awakened you are, or no matter how long it's been since you're healing, no matter how many plant medicine ceremonies you've been through, no matter how much breath work you've done, you still have to show up and do spiritual work today. You can't think, I'm present enough. I don't need to meditate anymore. I'm present throughout my day. That's what I used to think. And then I actually started to stagnate a lot in my spiritual growth and in my actual enjoyment of life and in my presence. What I've noticed actually is the more awakened I get and the farther along I go down my path, the more spiritual work I actually need to stay balanced. Because I get more and more sensitive the more awakened I get, which means I require more upkeep. I'm more high maintenance energetically. On the mental level, I'm less high maintenance, but on the energetic level, I'm more high maintenance. So a lot of people forget this and they fall into the paradigm of, oh, I already kind of saw the truth. And now I'm just kind of slowly adapting into my higher vibration. And I don't need to meditate. I don't need to do breath work. I don't need to clear that block. And there's a balance. Some people clear too many things and are too obsessive with spiritual work, and they do it for like 10 hours a day. That's excessive. There are some people that bypass and think they don't need to do it anymore, or they only need to do the fun type of meditation. They don't need to do the deep work that's kind of excruciating sometimes. Um, so it's about finding the middle ground where you're doing the work, you're not overdoing it, and you're not missing it. And also, by the way, I'm offering free discovery calls for people that want to learn more about my work and want to get an audit of their current situation. So they're 30 minutes long, they're on Zoom, and their link is in the description if that does resonate with you. Yeah. So Leah, if you go to my description, there should be a button called Linktree. That's like a website, and that'll show you everything. Like it has all my content. It has my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube, and then it has all of my contact forms, my applications. I have a free mentorship group where so I have the free call, which is only one per person, but I have a group that has like around 40 people in it that we meet twice a month on Zoom calls, and we have spiritual mentorship sessions, and there's 5 different spiritual guides that work for me or work with me, not for me. But we work together to kind of like take care of the circle of wisdom, which is this community. And there's a free version where you get access to 1 or 2 sessions a month, and then the paid version you get access to like 6 or 7 per month. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. I have a lot of awesome spiritual mystics and awakened people that are in my community that are really powerful individuals, really tapped in. And it's really powerful to surround yourself with people like that. Because sometimes, we love the people that are around us, but sometimes they're not. We need to access other frequencies. We need to be around people that can inspire us in different ways. So it's important to find people like that. But yeah, so I have that free community where we have a session coming up on Thursday with Shar, who is an expert in connection and relationships and in energy. So she's hosting a session for the group Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, that's different than Breathwork Club. Breathwork Club is something I did before, and I actually stopped doing it. This is, in a way, it's kind of like the evolution of Breathwork Club. So I used to do free breathwork on Zoom every Sunday. Now we have Circle of Wisdom Light, where we do 1 or 2 sessions a month, and there's many mentors. It's not just me. And then we have Circle of Wisdom Inner Circle, where it's like 67 a month, and there's 6 or 7 sessions per month. And then you get access to a bunch of other bonuses with that. And then I have a free clarity call for people. That's like a 30-minute one-on-one Zoom session. And yeah, other than that, I'm open to taking suggestions. If you ever want me to do a YouTube video on a topic, I want more ways to serve. So just let me know how I can show up for you and what you need on your journey, and I can see if I can provide that. That's one of my main goals with spiritual content in general, is not necessarily to like go super viral or something, because I've had millions of views on videos. It's to build that core community, like that core tribe of people that are really on that level. That's my mission now, is to find that core tribe of people that are really on that next level. I'm kind of bored of like, here's the 3 tips to open your third eye type content. And I'm on to more of like esoteric advanced stuff where I want to attract like people that are experiencing a lot of the things I'm experiencing, experiencing the world shift that we're going through, experiencing the consciousness shift of yourself and other humans, experiencing the transformation of the mind, body, spirit from a 3D human to a 5D human is pretty intense. I don't think it's very abrupt. I don't think we're going to transform into aliens tomorrow, but I think we're slowly letting go of old patterns and gaining new patterns that work better for life. That's what I feel. So, yeah. So that's what Circle of Wisdom is for. It's like a gathering place for mystics and awakened people and sensitive people, people that are following their purpose, etc. And then that's what these live streams are too. It's a gathering place for spiritual people to ask questions, to get support, to meet other spiritual people, etc. To do readings. I'm doing Akashic Records readings. For anyone that wants to do a donation-based reading right on here, you just send a donation, literally any amount. And then I tap in and do a reading for you right here, where we tap into what your soul's blockages are, and then also who might be draining you, like who has energetic cords tied to you. Could be exes, it could be friends, could be people that are in your life now. And then we also tune into what your soul is trying to release. So that can often be, an inner child wound, or it can be a ancestral block. But sometimes we're focused on the wrong thing. We're trying to clear an abundance block. Our soul wants to clear an inner child wound. So we're on the wrong page and we just kind of are fighting ourselves. So we actually have, if we listen to our soul and go, oh, I need to work on this, then we can actually have a smoother experience of transformation. So yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, it's also just an open Q&A. Anything you're curious about. I've been doing full-time spiritual coaching for the past 5 years. It's kind of crazy to say that now, paid my bills off of this for 5 years. And yeah, I feel like I've kind of escaped the matrix on like the job level. I haven't quite escaped the matrix on like the ego level. I still definitely have an ego and have spiritual work to do and have mental stuff to work through every now and then. I don't see myself as enlightened. I see myself as like I've seen a lot of intense spiritual stuff, but and I know a lot and I understand a lot, but I'm also just a student of life. I'm not like some guru or mystic. I'm kind of a mystic, and I think a lot of us are mystics, but I wouldn't call myself or consider myself a guru. I am a teacher, but more of like a couple steps ahead type teacher. I'm not an all the way there type of teacher. I was where you were a couple years ago. Let me help you with that type of teacher. You know what I mean? Leia said, "Oh wow, just started a new job, so I can't offer much at all, but I'm definitely looking for something like that." Yeah, if you want to, you can send any amount, like $5 or something. It doesn't matter to me, but it's just for those readings, I just do ask for some sort of energy exchange. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions in here. But I'm just for me to do my whole spiritual, like intuitive channeling thing, I've got to like, take some energy to tap into. Yeah, and then in Circle of Wisdom, we have one of our teachers in there is a sound healer. So we have sound healing sessions. I teach breath work in there. So I host breath work sessions in there. And there's 2 sessions free every single month. You don't even have to be a full member. And then you get access to the community too. Most people are in the free one. There's less people in the paid one than the free one. So you get to, just by joining the free one, you get access to the community for the most part. You just miss out on the more advanced sessions. Leia, for donation, it's if you go to the link in my description. You should be able to find it. If not, I can send you it in here. But if you go, there should be a description on the live, like, under the live. And then it says like paypal.me, and that's where you can send it. And yeah, for readings, I tap into 3 different things in your Akashic records, which are your soul's current lesson, what you're supposed to be releasing and working through right now, and then who might be draining your energy or who's kind of like affecting you negatively in your life. I'll send it here. All right. If you copy and paste that, you won't be able to click it, I don't think. But you can copy and paste that. And then you can click friends and family, so there's no fee if you want. That's what I always do. It's for donations, it shouldn't have a fee. Yeah. So let me know when that comes through. And then in the meantime, if anyone else has any other questions or is curious about anything, even just about my life. I live in Hawaii. I've manifested my soulmate. I have 2 awesome cats that are Zen masters. Well, one of them's a Zen master. The other one's kind of like anxious. And yeah, and I do music as well. I make music. I make like spiritual pop music where it's like almost sounds like pop and rap, but it has spiritual lyrics. So yeah, I would say I'm a good example for a lot of people. I'm not a good example for everybody, but certain people I am a good example of things that they're currently trying to expand in their life. And that's kind of where I line up as a coach for people. Is like I said before, I'm not the guru on the mountaintop. I'm the person that's, a couple steps ahead where, oh, I was having your business block a couple years ago. Let me help you with that. Or, you know what? I was having that same emotional block where I was kind of codependent. Let me help you with that. Or I was having that same self-doubting pattern where I was getting down on myself and not believing in myself. Let me help you with that. I'm not like here's the path to enlightenment and millions of dollars. I don't know how to get there. I need help getting there too. But there's a lot of things I can help people get to, like getting to a really happy place in their life. I'm really good at helping people get to a happy place. Helping people get in touch with their purpose and surrender to the flow of their purpose. Helping people with Kundalini awakenings or advanced spiritual awakenings where they're feels kind of like they're tripping on a psychedelic and they're overwhelmed with life. What else? Yeah, those are the main things that I help people with. And then also just general purpose anxiety, like people that are on their purpose and trying to accomplish their purpose, but it's just hard. And I help people understand that's part of the hero's journey. It just is kind of hard sometimes. And it's not necessarily, a bad thing. Sometimes the hardest parts of life are the absolutely most transformational, that bring us into the state of consciousness that's required for what we actually want. So sometimes it's like the perfect part of the recipe, but it does hurt. And if we are hating it and resisting it, then we have a lot of trouble with life. But when we're flowing with it and surrendering to it, it gets a lot easier. It's like the Ram Dass saying, you can either carry it around like a weight on your shoulders, or you can move with it like it's part of the dance. Either way, it's a heavy weight, but you can either move with it with the dance, or you can carry it on your shoulders like a back. Leia, just make sure it has that username, who's just Chris, and then it'll go through. Oh, and then Kelly had the comment that said, so true about the importance of accessing different frequencies and having an understanding support network. Yeah, that's absolutely so huge, because we can't just spend our time around one person or around, people that are out of alignment with us. We need to be around people that can help us tap into the frequencies we're meant to experience. And that's a beautiful part of life, is finding those friends that can kind of reflect back to us parts of ourselves that are still growing and help us reinforce more positive identities and belief systems and levels of love and energy, because you can't really do it on your own. You can't really just become enlightened on your own and then come out into the world. We are such social beings that we, in order to be happy truly, we need to find harmony within our collective. We need to be harmonic with others because we're so connected. So a lot of the time we're isolating because we get overwhelmed when we're around other people, or people irritate us or piss us off. But that's actually a sign. I actually saw this on a podcast that's about science, where they're talking about how when people get lonely, they get more irritable and aggressive in social context. So when they need socializing more, they actually get more on edge and they dislike socializing more. So the funny thing is, when you're hungry for socializing, you actually experience socializing as pain. So that's why it's so hard for people, is because they feel that pain when they go to socialize after not socializing for a while, or that discomfort, and they assume it means that they're not supposed to be talking with that person, or they don't like that interaction. But really, if you are lonely, then you're going to experience a lot of social interaction as irritation and as discomfort. So you have to actually embrace the discomfort of social interaction in order to get out of the phase of being lonely and get into the phase of loving socializing again and loving the people you're spending time with. So it's a very interesting thing. Very interesting. I'm reading the book right now called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and that's been really cool. Even the concept of reading it is a pretty cool thing, where he was the emperor of Rome in like 100 something AD, I think. So he basically ruled the world almost. And you get to see his personal journal and how he personally thought of different things in life and how he approached life. And it's not like I agree with everything, but there's so much to resonate with. And Leia, think I received your donation. I received a donation from someone named Bonnie. So I think that's you, right? Let me know when you're back in here, and I'll start the reading. So I just want to make sure you're back in the live before I get started so you don't miss it at all. And thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. But yeah, the book Market Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is all about this. It's basically about stoicism. It's about understanding that you have control over your body, you have control over your breath, and that's about it. You don't have control over other people's actions. You don't have control over what happens. You don't have control over anything outside of your flesh and your breath. And it really helps you surrender to the flow. And Leah, I see that you're back, so I'll drop in 1 second. And thanks so much for the donation. So it's so powerful to remember that really you just have control over your body and breath, and to really let go of the rest, because it takes your responsibility and puts it where it's important, which is in the now, in this moment, in your body, your breath. And it releases all your anxiety about the past. It releases your anxiety about what might happen in the future, because you're just focused on what's right here, So it's a great book. It's very interesting. I feel like it has a lot of strong energy because it was written by the most powerful person in the world at that time. All right, Leah, let's tap in. So we're going to go over and for those of you that are curious, this is my intuitive process where I tap into my higher state of consciousness and I can receive information. Calling in my guides to assist, calling in beings that serve love to assist, calling in Leah's guides that serve love to assist. Clearing out space for these messages. So the first question I asked is, what is your soul's current lesson that you're working on? And the first message I got was something that said long-term relationship or something. So I'm tuning into more. Working on your long distance, is it? Maybe I'm getting something. I don't know if it's saying long term or long distance. Something about trust. So I think the lesson your soul, let's see. Your soul's learning a lesson about trust in a long-term relationship that happened in a long-term relationship. And it is the thing you're maybe avoiding is you have to witness your own mistrust and how it is sabotaging you. So And that's what's to release, is to release the energy of mistrust. Because there's some energy of mistrust, some hesitation, not being sure. It's doubt of other people, like people won't be there to catch you when you fall or to support you. So it's releasing that like hesitation feeling that makes you go like it stops your breath. Releasing that feeling and releasing the meaning behind it that's associated with, oh, you think everyone's trying to take advantage of you, and you have to realize that there's a lot of people that are not going to take advantage of you. There's a lot of people that are happy to support you and wanting to be more cohesive or harmonic connected with you, but that you're pulling back because you think they're going to take advantage of you. So yeah, hesitation, the feeling of someone taking advantage, and it's like this, like you're on defense, and the universe doesn't want you on defense anymore. God doesn't want you on defense anymore. You don't need to be on defense anymore. It's not helping you anymore. It's not serving you. It served you once, it's not serving you anymore. And then when the last one is who's draining you, and it said it says your own unwillingness to look at some particular sadness that's like buried, I feel like, in your sacral. It's like you're like holding and hiding it, like like um like it's a sacred egg or something, but it's actually destroying you. And you actually have to process and feel through that sadness, and that's what's kind of been draining you and keeping you in some sort of spiral where it's like the cup's never filling up. It's because the hole is draining it too fast, even though you're pouring a lot in. So now I'm closing out of your records and sending you love, sending you blessings. Thanks so much for the donation. And yeah, let me know if that resonated. Once again, I'm just getting interpretations of what I'm experiencing and seeing. I'm not looking at a book and reading the words out of it. So I'm getting an impression of energy, and I'm using my best intuition to understand what it means. But it might be different on different parts, but the energy is probably right. The mistrust, the feelings of taken advantage of, the hidden sadness, that stuff is most likely like 99% accurate. The other stuff is just interpretation. You're welcome. Yeah. So yeah, take everything with a grain of salt. What resonates, take it. What you feel like maybe doesn't quite resonate or doesn't land, no need for it to be received. Whatever your higher self needed to receive, you will. And yeah, and just know I resonate with that a lot, of experiencing mistrust towards people because of past betrayals, because of friends talking behind my back or not really feeling how they say they feel about me, relationships, people backstabbing. And yeah, it's one of the scariest things to learn how to like bare your heart again, whether it's even in a friendship or a relationship. And just know it's so worth it though. But it's so scary. It's like it feels like being naked in public. Like it feels like you should not be like this. You need to cover up. but you actually have to feel that vulnerability to really connect with people, you know, even on a friendship level, but especially on a relationship level. You can't live behind the scenes trying to control other people's behavior and control your behavior. You've got to be fresh in the flesh, in the moment, vulnerable and raw, available for interaction. You know what I mean? And it's so scary. It's especially if you've been hurt, but there's not really an other option. The other option is stay closed off, and like that's just unhealthy and causes way more pain long term. And Leia says, yes, it feels weird even though I want to have relationships. Yeah, it might be a little bit of what I was saying that I saw in like the Huberman Lab podcast where they were talking about how when people are lonely, and I'm not saying you might have a lot of friends or a lot of connections in some way, but be lonely in another. So I'm not like saying you're totally alone or something. But a lot of times we feel lonely when we don't have the amount of social connections that we feel like we want, or the type of social connections we feel like we need. You know, we can still have a lot of people we love, but still feel lonely. So I'm not saying you're alone or something, and maybe you are, and that's part of life too sometimes. And we're here for you. But I just want to emphasize that is that from that podcast, I learned that when we haven't engaged as much in a certain way, like we haven't dated as much, or we haven't opened up in friendship, in a new friendship recently, then we often actually feel a little bit irritable and antisocial. So when we go socialize with people, we're going to feel bad vibes. And sometimes the bad vibes is not in the people, it's our own it's like our own, almost like we're not used to it. It's like, and then we're getting mad that it's uncomfortable, but it's really that we're just not adjusted. It's like when you turn the lights on and you were asleep and you're like, oh, turn that off. But in reality, it's like normal lights that everyone else is happy to have on. But when you just came out of a really dark room, you might actually feel like the lights are wrong, like they shouldn't be so bright, you know? So that's kind of how socializing and relationships are. When we have been isolated a bit, then it feels like, oh, like this is not right. But it's just because we're not used to it. We're not adjusted to the differences in other people's energy, the changes in social environments, you know? So you have to spend like 3 or 4 like hangouts pretty consistently before it starts to feel natural and calm. And still it only gets there if we've been actually surrendering and feeling the discomfort. If we found a way to be in our ego, then we won't connect at all, even, you know what I mean? Which this would happen to me a lot. I would be too sensitive in social situations, so I would put on an ego, and then my ego would be a little bit off-putting because I wasn't actually being myself. And then what I had to learn how to do is be willing to be kind of like awkward and sensitive, and then actually be confident when I'm actually confident. As opposed to before, if I was insecure, I would just act confident even though I was feeling nervous. Nowadays, if I'm nervous, I'm fine like dodging eye contact and stuttering. I don't have to project this fake confidence when I'm not feeling confident. And that's actually, ironically, confident. That's actually more confident to be willing to be nervous rather than to fake confidence. So in saying like 3 or 4 hangouts, that is if you actually stay being yourself. If you find a way to hide away in some sort of mental image of yourself where you disconnect from others, then it's still going to feel awkward, and it's going to feel, and people aren't going to like you usually if you're not being yourself. which is kind of justified, right? If you're acting like a character that's not you, it's kind of justified if people don't vibe with you that much. Sometimes I used to get so offended when people wouldn't vibe with me, but when I would look back, sometimes they wouldn't vibe with the real me, and that's just because they're not for me and I'm not for them. Other times, though, they probably would have liked me, but I was behaving in this like kind of fake way, and it was off putting. So, a lot of being real and being confident is being willing to look like you're insecure. Isn't that backwards and weird? I feel like that's so weird, but it's so true. To actually be confident, you have to be willing to look like you're not confident. And that's part of confidence is you don't care if someone thinks you're confident or not. If you're nervous and you embrace it. If you're sad and you embrace it. If you're scared and you embrace it. That's confidence. Right? That's self-confidence. Obviously, that doesn't mean you're socially confident in that moment. But that means you're confident in who you are. And that's more important than being socially confident. Social confidence is kind of meaningless unless it stems from a confidence in who you actually are. Otherwise it's a kind of a facade. It's kind of a performance. Because genuine socializing, it's about expressing yourself. It's not about playing a perfect character. It's about expressing how the actual being feels. That's what people call being real or being authentic. And the reason they like it is not because people have this weird fixation with authenticity. It's because that's where the energy is. When you're being fake, you're like a hose that is kinked. There's no flow. When you're being real, even if you're not even being that cool or interesting, when you're being real, there's energy. And people like energy. And it's that simple. It's not some magical formula that people care so much whether you're being authentic or not. It's that when you're not being authentic, people actually struggle to feel you. They struggle to know who you are. They struggle to sense that you're another human in front of them. It feels like you're kind of like a robot when you're being fake to someone's emotional system. It's like you're almost turned off on one layer of reality when you're not being authentic. You're turned on the mental layer, but you're turned off on another layer. And people notice that you're not there. It's like an empty shell. I wanted to mention also, I have some free clarity calls, which are 30-minute Zoom sessions for people. So if you're interested in looking to have an audit of what's going on in your head and figure out why your life is reflecting back to you the way it is, like why are you continuously seeing this pattern? Why can you not seem to overcome this certain problem? Whatever it is, or why am I getting in this relationship issue? Whatever it is, or why am I so overwhelmed by spirituality and my sensitivity? Then I highly suggest you book a clarity call with me because I have these free 30-minute clarity calls for people that are interested in kind of getting a life audit on what's going on in their life. These calls are totally free and there's no expectation at all. But obviously, if you do want to work with me further, then that's a great opportunity to learn more about my offers. I have a program called Rebalance, where it's a group mentorship program that's all about getting into harmony with the laws of nature and harmony with your body and harmony with the divine. So you start living in this way that's a lot more cohesive with life instead of living in a way where you're against life, like how so many people live. So Rebalance is all about balancing your chakras, balancing your masculine and feminine, which is your yin and yang, your outwards and your inwards. And it's also about balancing your relationship with your mind, body, and spirit. Sometimes we're too mental heavy. Sometimes we don't have enough mental. Sometimes we're too body heavy. Sometimes we're dissociated. Sometimes we're too spirit heavy and we're kind of like woozy. sometimes we are disconnected from our spirit. So rebalance is all about getting back into connection and harmony. And to learn more, just book a 30-minute clarity call for free, and we can talk more about it on there. And then, yeah, and I'm here still to answer any questions you guys have, anything that you're curious about that I've been experiencing, or anything you want to share that you've been experiencing on the spiritual journey. This is an open forum for connection and community. So whatever is going on, let me know. Also, if you guys have suggestions, I'm always looking for different types of content to make, because I never really know what people want to watch. Um, I'm gonna work on some content that gives like the biography of spiritual figures. So it shows like crazy spiritual experiences they had at young ages in their life and how that affected them. That's gonna be kind of cool. I always just talk about self-improvement stuff and productivity stuff and health. But then breath work, should I talk more about breath work? Should I just give more breath work techniques? Like, I'm always open to hearing from you guys what you want to see more from me, because sometimes I don't really know what you want. And yeah. And it's nice to hear what you guys are actually thinking about. Can you talk about friendships? Yeah. And Leia said, where and how do we book a clarity call? So I'll send the link for. So if you copy paste that, it has everything that about me, my business, my past clients. Like, it has just everything on there. So, and then, yeah, I can talk about friendships. So, yeah, friendships is even an area that I've definitely struggled with a lot at certain times in my life. I had early on just like friends that kind of betrayed me and didn't really treat me with respect, even after knowing them for a long time, and, kind of feeling rug pulled by them, of not, yeah, I had a lot of identity issues because friends early on would kind of turn on me. And now how I view friendship is its frequency. And what I've noticed is the more tapped in you are with your purpose, the more unique your energy will be, and the more unique your friends will have to be. So I think friends are like our energetic tribe. It's like people that really tap into the right frequencies in us. They inspire us. They understand us. They respect us. And I don't think you need to have dozens of friends. It's nice to have community and to know a lot of people, but you really only need a couple of good friends that truly understand you, and they don't even need to fully understand you. They just need to understand an aspect of you and then respect that you have other aspects, right? Some friends respect one aspect of you and then they kind of disrespect the other. That's not okay. Other friends, they respect they respect all aspects of you, but they only resonate with one. That's okay. But you don't want the people that secretly kind of hate an other part of your life to be that close to you, because it'll bleed off. You'll start to judge yourself for things that they judge you for. Yeah. So I also think that there's soul family that we meet as friends, where we're supposed to meet them at a certain time. We're supposed to work on certain things together or support each other in certain times. And sometimes we're not supposed to even see them after that. So, yeah, I feel like the more you tap in with your purpose, especially if you have a very unique purpose, you kind of get more and more unique as a person, and you're less tolerant on a deeper level of most people. And also, you're more agitating to people. Because, like, if you were not following your purpose, but then your best friend was like following their purpose to the highest level, it would actually start to agitate you. You know what I mean? And it's not it's not their fault, and it's not your fault that it's agitating you. It's just that person probably can't really be your best friend anymore unless you can honor and respect that you are not following your purpose the way they are, and that that's okay. If that person can honor that, then they can stay best friends and close. But a lot of times, if you're really close, like best friends, where you really understand a person up and down, they can really get agitated if you step into a deeper level of your purpose. So just be aware of that, that sometimes you'll have to change your core group if you're tapping into a deeper level of energy than they are, because you're just going to upset them. You know, their level of life is disrupted by your level of life. So sometimes there's things of harmony where no one is wrong, but you can still be in disharmony with each other. It's like this type of life just does not go with this type of life, and it's okay. And no one needs them to go together. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important to understand with friends is you might have friends from your past that you love like family, but they just can't be your best friend anymore because their life operates on totally different energies and principles than yours, and your life kind of interferes with each other. Like you want to dive deeply into your surrender to God, and they want to kind of fight for survival a little bit more. And so when you go surrender with life and you're around them and they're fighting for survival, it's going to make them feel like shit because they're going to have a harder time fighting. And it's going to make you feel like shit because you're trying to be calm and surrender. And you could feel their agitation because they're fighting to survive. So a lot of the time, if you're in a mode of surrender and the people around you are fighting to survive, it's really agitates each other, but it's no one's fault. It's okay to fight to survive, but you need to be around other people that are fighting to survive so that you can make sense together. The people that are surrendering to God need to surrender to God with other people that are surrendering to God together. And you can still be close and love people, but you can't really be like, see them as like part of you anymore. You can't see them as kind of like the same as you. You have to realize they're choosing to go the other direction. They're choosing fear and you're choosing love, and that's okay. One day they might surrender to love and stop trying to fight life. But until then, you need to take space and find people that are also aligning with life through surrender. And I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm just saying if you have a way of energy that's counters someone else's energy, you kind of have to keep distance. And it's no one's fault. It's just a nature of harmony is that you don't want to disrupt people unnecessarily. And Sarah said, you hit the nail, betrayal. Yes, and it makes sense. I have a very unique, out of norm purpose, and that is my part of fear to connect again. I fear people will not relate to me. It helps to know that it is how it's supposed to be, having more peculiar and unique friendships. Yeah, yeah. And then you can have different layers of friendships. Like you can have dozens of acquaintances that you respect and they respect you. And you even participate in projects together, or maybe they host events around you. You can still totally have like friends, but it's just you can't have like partners in life that are not on the same paradigm as you, or else things just get sticky. And it's no one's fault. And no one is the bad one. It's just disharmony. And that's what harmony is all about, is learning that disharmony is not wrong. It's just not useful. It's not wrong at all. So yeah, and if you are following a very unique purpose, it will be weirder to connect with people, and you'll kind of have to, like when you talk to a kid, you don't like bring up world issues. You know what I mean? You go, "Oh, you like the dump truck? It's so cool. It's yellow." You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean you're being fake. If you're like Gucci Gucci, maybe that's like fake, but if you're just like, "Wow, that's a nice truck you have." and you're playing with the sand. Cool. That must be fun. Like, that's not being out of alignment. It's not being fake. But you wouldn't go, oh, you're really going to put the dump truck like that? That kind of reminds me of this terrible world event. You know what I mean? Like, so when you're speaking with people that are not spiritually awakened or are not following their purpose, you don't have to be like, let's tune in with the higher frequency and let go of our egos. You don't need to, you can just be like, oh yeah, that person was mean to you. That sucks. That sucks. Like, you can relate to them without abandoning yourself. But at that same time, you won't feel that layer of connection of like, I get this person, they're just like me. But you'll be able to connect with them on an acquaintance or even like a friendship level where it's not patronizing, but it kind of feels patronizing in a way, but you're not looking at them as less than you. That would be patronizing. You're looking at them as maybe they're not quite aware as you of certain things. They're probably more aware of other things, but they're not quite aware of certain things, and you don't need to bring them up to them. And that's kind of what I realized later on is I don't need to bring things up to people. I can just connect with them where they're at in a loving way. And yeah, it does kind of feel isolating when most people you're around, you have to do that. But that's what makes the people that you can really connect with so special. And that's what makes you kind of bonded in a deeper way. Like, I have friends that I don't talk to for 6 months, and I can FaceTime them for hours about spiritual stuff and about life stuff. But there's some people that I could see all the time, and I would not want to talk to them for longer than 20 minutes because I would have to kind of like, oh, cool, that reality that I don't participate in, awesome. Just like with the kid. Oh, wow, you're moving the sand. Oh, cool, you read the David Goggins book and you convinced yourself you're going to run for 2 hours every morning and you think that's going to improve your mental health somehow. Awesome. Like, I don't need to go, hey, you're actually abusing yourself on a deeper level. And eventually you're going to have to heal from the abuse you're putting yourself through. So it's honestly not worth it to just get in shape through self-abuse. I don't need to bring that up. I'll bring that up to the right people, to you guys. But to the guy that's obsessed with working hard and succeeding, I'm not going to burst his bubble. And he's not going to let me burst his bubble. He's going to think I'm lazy or an idiot because I think that I can just, do the minimum that God asks of me and that I'll receive the maximum. He'll think that that's stupid. So that's okay. It's just different paradigms. And that person, if they're polite and kind, when they speak to me about my spiritual reality, they should speak to me going, oh, wow, you talked to an angel today? That's so awesome. Like, that's polite. Even if deep down they're like, angels aren't real. They can connect with me still. It's people have their ego of like, they have to be the same as everyone in order to not hate them or something, or to feel safe around them. But yeah, it's you just kind of have to accept that people live in different paradigms, and you can kind of visit their paradigm for a little bit and then go back home to yours. You don't need to bring your paradigm everywhere. Although you can bring it more often and kind of disrupt people for sure when you're aligned with it. Yeah. I've also been working on lately just instead of thinking of life in things to do, because that's so 3D, I think of it as like colors and sensations to bring into life. So if I feel lazy, it's not that I need to go work out, it's that I need to have some red energy. I need to add some red energy into the mix. How could I do that? Oh, if I worked out, that would tap into some red energy. But I can also tap into some red energy in a meditation, and then I'll want to work out because it's the same color in my brain. I don't know if it's the same for everyone. Um, but yeah, I've been tuning into life in a more artistic way instead of a logical like video game type of way. I'm not trying to like win the video game of life anymore. I'm adding to the art of life. I'm being Picasso. I'm not being Nintendo. A lot of people live their life like it's a video game. And you can do that. That's more fun than living it like it's a drama. I'd rather play the video game of life than live the drama of life. But there's a higher level too. You can be in the art of life where you can't even lose. You're just always winning. Every brushstroke is just a win. You can also live there. You know, there's no limits on paradigm. You can be in whatever paradigm you want. Whatever paradigm you can handle, really. And Sarah said, I can love people with different belief systems. I just know there's not where I would feel deeper connections. Yeah, it's good to, you know, sometimes we just have to accept that we don't have the deeper connection or the person to talk to that we want to, and we call them in and we just have to wait. And yeah, it's good to not try to turn the people that are acquaintances into like our best friends just because we're lonely. It's good to take time alone, actually, if you're not finding people you truly resonate with. But it's not good to stay all the way alone for a long time either. You got to have acquaintances too that you get along with and laugh with and connect with on some level, but maybe you don't connect with on a deep level. So that's what I would say is spend time having fun with acquaintances, but don't try to make them into best friends. And when you do have best friends that come along, just really invest into them, and don't be shy to invest into them. A lot of people are scared to show up in a friendship because they think it'll be like taken the wrong way or seen as desperate or something. But it's really great to just show up authentically and let people know that they mean a lot to you, even friends. I think it's so important to let people know, hey, our friendship really heals me a lot, or our friendship really helps me feel validated, or our friendship helps me have fun, and I haven't had a lot of fun lately. It's really good to let people know that because sometimes we think people know how they make us feel, but they don't, good or bad. A lot of time people don't know that they made us feel good, and they don't know when they make us feel bad. So it's actually very powerful to let people know when they made you feel good and why. Then they're actually more likely to do it again. A lot of us sit around and people do something nice and you go, yay. And then we're like, when are they going to do it again? And then they never do because you didn't even affirm to them that you loved it. So this is my last thing I'll say about friendship is so much of friendship is communication. So much of friendship is communication. And a lot of people expect a lot out of friendships, but don't ask for a lot. And that's the recipe for a disaster. It's when you are expecting a lot from someone, but you're not actually asking for it. And so a lot of people expect friends to hit them up to hang out. They expect friends to be there to support them. They expect friends to reach out when they're sad. But have they ever asked the friend to do that? A lot of times the answer is no. They just have a world in their head that goes, if they really liked me, they would do this. So if they don't do this, they don't like me. But that is based on their past, and it's based on their own anecdotes. And a lot of times they're completely wrong. So you actually have to ask for what you need and let people tell you, no, I'm not going to invite you to this thing. No, I'm not going to support you when you need it. And then you can cry about it if you want. And that's kind of the point. A lot of people get sad too soon in friendships. They get sad and they think people are betraying them when they're not. When they're just ignorant. They don't know that you want that. They don't know that something affected you that way. Like one time, I asked a friend what he was doing, and he's like, "Oh, I might go to this event thing." And then I was like, "Oh, cool. Hit me up if you do." And then later I saw he never hit me up. And then I saw on his Instagram story that he went to the event. And boom, it hit me in the gut. It was like, wow, he went, he said he would invite me, and then he went and he didn't even text me. So and then all I could have all these things. Um, oh, he doesn't like me as a friend. He doesn't want to hang out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then for him, he probably thinks, oh, Chris probably just didn't even care. He probably forgot about it. But so I told him, hey, it kind of made me sad that you didn't invite me or you didn't let me know you were going to the thing. And then he was like, my bad. I totally should have let you know. I honestly only went for 15 minutes and said hi to some people and left. I didn't really think you would have wanted to come for that. And then it's like, oh, that makes sense. He just stopped by and he probably didn't think I wanted to go for 15 minutes. That actually makes sense. And he said, sorry, thanks so much for calling me out on that. I should have reached out to you and let you know either way. So a lot of times people don't express themselves, so then they don't get their needs met. You know? And then they get sad that their needs aren't met and they have all these beliefs about how they're not worthy and how no one loves them. Meanwhile, no one even knows that they need anything because they're not psychic. And even though, yes, people need things, you don't know if that person's already getting support from their mom or their friend or their other best friend. You know, you have to ask for things that you want. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing in friendship is don't make assumptions. Don't assume people hate you. Don't assume they like you either. Look at actions, and then ask people about actions in ways that allow them to save face. I didn't hit up my friend and go, "You're a douchebag for not inviting me." I said, "Hey, I saw that you went to the event, and I felt kind of sad that you didn't text me." That's just honest. You can't argue with that. You didn't feel sad. No, I'm just being honest. I felt sad when I saw you were at the event. That's just what I just felt sad. So I didn't tell him he's an asshole. I didn't approach him angry. You made me sad. You made me sad. You need to apologize. I didn't do that. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of people get sad and then they go, "You made me sad." And then they like express anger and then the person gets defensive. You know? And if they just went, "Hey, I kind of felt sad when this happened." And just matter of fact. I'm not blaming, I'm not like angry. I just felt sad. Or I felt angry. I felt frustrated even. But you just express it. You don't yell at them. You don't name call. You don't, you know, compare them to something terrible. When you do that and you allow people to save face, they usually want to support you. So a lot of people, they don't understand in friendships how to allow people to save face while still expressing disapproval. I'm still not letting my friend off the hook for telling me something and then not following up on it. But I'm also not pressing him about it in a way that makes him feel defensive. I'm expressing the truth in a way that probably makes him empathize with me and feel compassion. So a lot of people struggle in relationships because they think they can just demand people to support their needs, instead of realizing you need to actually express it with a high level of emotional intelligence, what you need. And then when people don't deliver what you need, you also have to, with a high level of emotional intelligence, let them know why they didn't support you or give you what you needed. A lot of people freak out on people too soon. They assume things too soon, or they cut people off too soon. And so that's what I've seen in friendships. And someone was saying it, Leia was saying it sounds like the dynamics of dating. Yeah, it's honestly the same thing. It's just human relationships. Um, it's yeah, communication. Communication is key for human relationships. And what is communication? It's making sure you're on the same page, making sure you get what the other person means, making sure you understand what they're doing, making sure you understand why they're doing it, making sure they understand why you're reacting how you're reacting. Like, communication is just about being on the same page. So much of issues in life come from when we are just not on the same page. Like, one person thought one thing and the other person thought the other. And that's not something to be mad about. Being on the wrong page as someone, that's no one's fault almost. So that's why communication is so key without blame, is because you need to actually get on the same page if you even want to expect the other person not to disrespect you. Because if you're on the different page, then what is disrespect to one person might be a handshake to another. Like, it's not, you need to be on the same page in order to properly understand what is disrespectful and what's not. And then Sarah said, I need psychic friends. That's the solution. Yeah, yeah. And then what I would say is, have some psychic friends that you connect with on that spiritual level, but then also make sure you have friends that connect with you on the human level or the humorous level, like friends that are really, that you laugh with. Because you also don't want to be in an echo chamber of like only spiritual people. It's important to have people in your life that are very spiritual, people in your life that are very grounded and rational. And you can kind of like, because there's benefits of each. It's not like spiritual people are the truth, the way, and the light. You know what I mean? I don't believe that. I think that everyone serves a purpose. And I think spiritual people are just the ones that are seeing the craziness that's going on. And I don't necessarily think they're the ones that are even helping it the most. You know what I mean? I think God is helping it through people, but I think a lot of spiritual people are, a lot of them are making it worse. Spiritual people are just people that are witnessing what's happening spiritually. They're not the people that are supporting the shift usually. People that are supporting the shift are the ones that are like the amazing mothers, the amazing fathers, the people that are like putting their life on the line, the people that are telling the truth when it hurts their career, the people that are abandoning ways of life that are harming other people and are harming society and are finding sustainable ways of living, the people that are leaving corporation jobs that are, the corporations are doing evil and their paycheck is coming from partial evil, and they're leaving corporations and finding local business jobs or online jobs where they're supporting growth and sustainability in the world. Like this, these are the people that are shifting the consciousness. It's not the people that are meditating and complaining. Those people are actually stuck usually. And I love, this is one thing from the Bible, I think, where it says, you can tell how connected to someone is to God by the fruits that they bear. So you can tell what someone, how connected they are to God by the actual fruits of their life. How happy do they seem? How grounded are they? How light is their eyes? How many people love them? How much success do they have that has created positivity in the world? You know? And when you, if you look at a person and they don't really have that in their life, but they have a lot of spiritual development, then it's usually not grounded in God. It's not grounded in truth. It's like ego spiritual development. And that's why it hasn't reflected back to them in terms of their abundance in life and in terms of their friendships and in terms of their greater position in the cosmos, you know? A lot of people are just very aware, but being aware is just the first step. You actually have to change the lower patterns that are harming people, and you have to create patterns that are sustainable and supportive of other people. So, yeah, it's something to think about, but spiritual people are not the ones creating the shift, really. There are some spiritual people that are, but it's not the general public spiritual people that you see everywhere. It's like the mystic in the cave that's like dying to their ego. Um it's the business owner that's creating a business that's supporting people. It's the person that's creating a lifestyle and a way of life that is harmonic with nature and is not just abusive of nature, you know? Yeah, that and this is a good way to put it that Sarah said. Agreed. You can be aware and not loving. Yeah, 100%. It's like that's the difference, I would say, is being a loving being and a kind being is different than being an aware being. There are beings that are very aware that are not kind and are not loving, but they're very aware. And a lot of spiritual people choose truth and awareness over love and balance. And they don't realize they're actually kind of like, it's like spiritual ego. It's like false light when you choose truth and love that isn't grounded in loving life. So that's the difference, I would say, is being a loving being. And there's people that identify as spiritual that are loving beings. And there are people that identify as atheists that are loving beings. You know what I mean? There are people that are Christians that are loving beings, and there are people that are Christians that are hateful beings. There are people that are into ayahuasca that are loving beings. There are people that do a lot of ayahuasca that are self-centered beings and hate and separate from the rest. And they want to cut their connection off with the whole. You know what I mean? Like, so it's easy to group ourselves into categories, but you got to find the people that are real, like whatever that means to you, because everyone's different. You got to find the people that are in your energy and your heart feel real to you. Because there's a lot of nonsense, and maybe your nonsense is someone else's realness, and that's part of life too. Is that, you know, not everything is for everyone, but what I will say is you'll notice when you resonate with certain people and when you don't. And you'll notice when you're supposed to be in a place or you're not. You can't tell if other people are meant to be there. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They think everyone needs to be a vegan, or everyone needs to surrender to Jesus Christ, or everyone needs to do XYZ, when in reality, what they're experiencing is I went vegan and I changed my life for the positive. And then other people are going, I started following Jesus Christ and I changed my life for the positive. You know, instead of what happens to a lot of people when they're stuck in their ego is this changed my life, so everyone needs it now, and I'm going to be annoying and force everyone to abide by my perception of reality and truth. That's actually not harmonious, and that's disconnected from love. So yeah, no matter what it is, there or someone could be indoctrinated into ayahuasca or breath work or whatever. They think everyone needs ayahuasca. You know, they think if you haven't done ayahuasca yet, you're a child and you haven't, you know, there's people like that. But and that's just pride. It's you think you are so smart that what works for you is going to work for every other human. It's ridiculous. The complexities and the differences on in the level of mind, body, and spirit of every individual unique human being, and you think you figured out the formula for everyone? What does that even mean? God laughs at that. What do you mean a singular formula for every being? They're all unique and different. Why would they all have a unique formula? Why would they all have the same? Why would God make the same recipe for all the children? Like every kid gets his own unique serving of the medicine the way that they need it. And for some people, that might be ayahuasca. For some people, that might be Jesus. For some people, that might be microdosing and meditating. For some people, it might be being completely sober and never touching a substance ever, not even a drop of alcohol ever. For other people, that's not it. Like sober people do this too. They go, everyone needs to stop drinking alcohol. It's like, nah, homie, you just needed to stop drinking alcohol because you're a maniac with it, or someone stops smoking weed. No one should be smoking weed. It's terrible for you. Nah, bro, it was terrible for you. And you're in your ego and you can't accept that you just made a mistake on your own. And so you're projecting the mistake onto everyone else, thinking that everyone needs to atone for something that you do. It's not true. Some people don't need to atone for the things that you need to atone for. Some people don't need to abstain from alcohol and can still live a fun, healthy, happy life. Some people don't need to abstain from weed and can live a fun, happy, healthy life. Some people need to abstain from weed. Some people need to abstain from alcohol. Some people need Jesus, probably. Some people need Buddha and Krishna. And some people need to be an atheist, probably. And this is the magic of life when you start realizing there's not really like a way. There's just a lot of ways not to do it. There's not a way to do it, but there's a lot of ways not to do it. You can do it in whatever way you do it, but there's a lot of ways that just don't work, like self-hate, self-attack, separation, disharmony in the long term, right? It just doesn't work. But everyone can find their own way, whether it's through religion. Some people need to face towards Mecca and pray, and that's how they get their spiritual well-being, and that's beautiful. Other people, they need to go to an ayahuasca ceremony. That's beautiful. Some people, they go to church. That's beautiful. Other people, they sit in meditation on a mat in their house. That's beautiful. The problem is when we go, you all need to get on a mat in your house and meditate every day, or else you're going to hell. You're all going to hell unless you meditate on a mat for 20 minutes a day. Like, it's ridiculous, right? And it's the same thing if I go, you're in new age spirituality? That's demonic. You need Jesus. Or, you're in that type of spirituality? That's too far this direction. You need this type of spirituality. Like people make all the reasons in the world up to judge people. And they have all the reasons in the world it's justified, but it's just not. That's what I'll say is a way to not find God and have a happy life, is by judging people and by projecting onto people. That's one of the ways to never find a way to actually be happy. So that's what I would say is, find the people that are non-judgmental, because in every spiritual community, there's people that think like the soil is the path. Everyone needs to get their shoes off and get in the mud and quit their job and be a hippie. There are people like that. There are other people in the world that think everyone needs to get off their ass, put a suit on, and go get a corporate job and make $100K a year. There are people that, and either way, I personally just think it's stupid to think that you know what's best for any other person besides you. Because do you even really know what's best for you that well? And you're going to go tell someone else they know what's best for them? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's actually insane. it's totally in alignment to make suggestions to people based on your own experience, but to really think that you know the way and they don't is weird. It's odd. It's off-putting. People don't like it. So that's what I would say. It's really awesome to connect with people, but just honor their own unique version of reality. Even honor the corporate business person reality. Honor the Fox News sitting in front of a TV personality, because that's just their way of life. What I don't honor is them trying to project it onto others, but I do honor their own right to have that reality, to be in that reality. I don't honor their right to draw people into their reality through fear and force. Yeah, so for me with friends, I kind of have like, I picture it like circles. My inner circle is like me and God and like my guides. Then my outer circle is like my girlfriend, my family, maybe like one close friend. And then outside of that is like my probably like 5 or 10 closest friends. A lot of them don't live near me. And then also maybe the few close friends that I have near me. And then outside of that is like my acquaintances, people that I see on the island here, people that I see through my YouTube channel or my social media or my different coaching or, different clients that I have. Um, and then outside of that is people that I care about, but that I don't really know. Like if something happened to, like people just, you know, people that I've met once or twice that I know who they are, and I care about them, but I don't really know much about them. And then outside of that is like strangers who I would feel sad for if they're going through something, but also I don't really, they're not on a high level of importance for like my daily life. And I think it's important to see life like that, because you can't just dump all of your love into like the whole world. It doesn't work like that. You've got to create like systems of love. And the core that gets the most love has got to be God and yourself. And then it's got to be your close family. And then it's got to be like your community and tribe. Because like that's how humans are set up. We're not able to give our love to every single person. We need to give most of our love to the people that give most of it right back. Then we give some of our love to the people that give some of it back. We give a bit of our love to the people that give a bit of it back. And we give the abundance of love to the people, or our abundance, our overflow of love that we don't need really, to the people that cannot pay us back at all. But a lot of people are delusional and they think they can just pour out love to every single portal that is empty. And that's a recipe for getting completely and utterly drained of energy. People that actually retain a lot of frequency, you have to know like who is keeping the frequency. And first of all, it's going to be you and your relationship to spirit. No one's going to be able to rebound love as much as God is to you. The next has got to be people that you fully trust, like your partner or someone that you could like bare your heart to without being judged by them. And for those people, you can give as much love as you want because it's going to pour back into you. But then even there's people outside of that you can give a lot of love, but if you gave them all of your love, they would probably drain you a little bit. So you have to know who those people are that can't get your unconditional love, but they get kind of conditional love from you. And then you got to know your community, which is people that get pretty conditional love from you. Whenever you have it available, maybe you share love, but you're not just going to go out of your way and mess up your life to support someone that you don't know that well. So like you need layers of, and also this is not just love, it's also energy. It's where you're willing to give your energy, where you're willing to spend your time, where you're willing to make sacrifices. You should be willing to make the most sacrifices for God and for yourself and your own path. Then second, to your family and partner. Third, to your tribe and community and friends. And then fourth, to your nation or like your broader stranger community. So yeah, a lot of people fall into the delusion that they have enough love to go around. I'm sorry, but this world is a effing pit of emptiness, and your love will get sucked up into that siphon like nothing, and like burning $100 bills. You need to cultivate like a garden. You don't just like throw the seeds anywhere. You put the seeds in the nice soil, you water the good seeds, and you watch them grow. You have to do that with your life. You have to understand most of this world is like barren rocks, and your seeds are not going to grow there. And you think you're giving so much abundance to the world because you're throwing your seeds out into the road, and none of them are growing. So it's not real abundance, and you're not really giving that much. You have to give in the place where it matters. You have to give in the place where it grows. You can't just give into the abyss. A lot of people give into the abyss and they wonder why they haven't received a lot of abundance. It's because you're throwing seeds on the ground. You need to throw seeds in fertile soil and water them and take care of them. You can't throw seeds onto the road and expect them to grow. So a lot of people give out so much, but you're not giving it out to the fertile soil. You're giving it out to the vultures. You know what I mean? So, give to your loved ones. That's where you're going to receive the most, is when you give to your loved ones and when you give to yourself. But then don't forget your community, and then don't forget the world at large. You should donate to the world at large, to world issues, but don't expect to receive from that. That's just part of being a happy, supportive human. You're going to receive from the love you give to your partner. You're going to receive from the love you give to your community. You're going to receive to the love you give to your customers or clients. So yeah, just remember that abundance doesn't work like arbitrarily, like if you give, you receive. It matters what was the result of what you gave, because that's what you actually gave. You know what I mean? Like if I throw seeds in the soil and they sprout into a broccoli tree, then I gave broccoli. If I throw seeds on the ground, I gave a throwing motion. It could be the same throwing motion, but when it lands in the soil, I'm giving more. But that's where intelligence comes in. Where should I throw my seeds? Where should I give my service? And I should give my service in places where it's going to grow more, not in places where it's dying. You know? So when you're thinking about abundance, think, where can I give my love that's going to return it back to me tenfold? And that's going to be your partner. If they're a healthy partner, if they're toxic, they're going to be part of the black hole. Your close personal friends, your close family members. And then the next level would be giving to your community and supporting your community, and then supporting strangers. And when you find places where what you give is actually landing and turning into fruits, keep giving there. But if you notice your gifts are just going on the ground and spilling, then stop, because it's not worth it, and it's not real service unless it's being received. It's like if I cook a meal and then I throw it in the ground, is that service? No. It's only service if I cook it and then the person is there to receive it. So remember that, whether you're a spiritual teacher or a coach or a healer or whatever, or you work a job that you love and you're supporting people with, whatever you do to support people, just remember that You got to support people in the way that they can receive it. It's not just about doing a bunch of stuff that's good. It's about finding a way to get it to land. If it doesn't land, it's not service. If it doesn't land, you didn't do anything. You attempted to do something, which is nice. And maybe you gained better skills, and maybe you gained a better understanding of where not to throw your seeds. But if you actually want to grow abundance and grow success and do good for the world, you have to throw it places where it will grow. So you have to understand where to serve that's actually going to benefit people and actually going to benefit the world and is actually going to continue to grow instead of going to fall and die. Sarah said, my past close circles were all black holes, so I need it indeed stopped. Now I am relearning how to establish healthy connections. Yeah, it's super important to tap in with that. And, everyone is going to be a little bit, no one is perfect and people are going to drain you here and there, but definitely notice when people are like two-faced. I can't stand two-faced people. I don't even want to associate with someone that's two-faced. If they present one face to me, one face to another person, I don't like it. I don't trust you. I don't want you around me. You know what I mean? So that's one sign of like someone that's more of a drain, like a black hole, is when in your face they're like, "Oh, that's so cool," da da da, and then you hear that they were talking shit on you later when they said the total opposite to your face. I'm actually fine with shit talkers as long as they say it to your face, or as long as they'll say some version of it to your face. I hate two-faced people. I don't hate them, but I cannot stand being around and having them in my life. People that put on different faces for different people that are contradict each other. It's okay to have like a social personality and an at-home personality, but when you contradict your morals and you contradict your statements, I don't like that. So that's what I would look out for mainly. But then also it's victims. You also don't want to spend time around victims because victims drag you into a victim mindset and they also find a way to turn you into an abuser. A victim will always find a way to claim anyone has abused them for whatever. Anything could be misconstrued as abuse. You looked at them the wrong way, that was abusive. You didn't look at them, that was abusive. Like people in a victim mindset eventually, not in the beginning because they hide it, but they think it. They feel victimized by life, so they're going to feel victimized by you if you have any power over them at all. So like if they're your client or they're your partner or they're your close friend, they're going to sabotage you. And it's not even their fault. It's like mental illness. So yeah, don't be around victim people. And also understand what victimhood is. It's not like a lot of people are victims and don't know it. Complainers are victims. People that complain a lot are victims. Because complaining implies that you didn't create it yourself. Complaining is like, oh, the world sucks. I'm awesome, but bad things keep happening. And it's a lie. Instead of going, wow, why is this showing up? What is this reflecting in my character, in my actions, in my energy, that this is showing up in my life? That's what a non-victim does. A victim goes, wah, screw you, fuck that, I hate this, this was a mistake, I don't like that. Victims are in rejection of life. Even there's a lot of spiritual victims where they're like, I've been manifesting for 6 years and I have not manifested what I want. And it's not my fault. I tried so hard. And they're in a victim mindset about the fact that they haven't manifested. And it's so ironic because you'll realize, oh yeah, that's why you're stuck. You literally think you're a victim even though know that you're divinely blessed and you still think you're a victim. So obviously you're not going to receive your blessings. It's just math. It's mathematical. at that point. But they don't get it because they don't realize they're being a victim. They're just looking at like the circumstance and they're like, why? Why? And they don't realize like the why thing is the reason. Like that's the answer to it. It answers itself. It answers itself. So that's what I'll say. Be wary of two-faced people and be wary of victims. Whether they're in friendship, relationships, business, any form, be wary of victims. Victims want to hurt themselves subconsciously. They can overcome it when they can look at themselves and go, oh, I'm kind of dumb in that way. I need to learn more about that. Or, wow, I was really selfish. I need to stop doing that. Or, wow, I have not been taking care of myself. I definitely yeah. So watch out for victims. They'll drag your vibration down. They'll also convince you that you're a victim, and they'll also convince you that you're an abuser. So watch for people that victimize, and watch for people that abuse. Because obviously we don't want to be around abusive people, but that's a little easier to detect and avoid. But victimized people, it's harder to notice because they're usually super nice, and it's super sad that they're so stuck. They're usually the nicest folk. But a lot of times it's because they think they have to be nice. They don't actually want to be nice. They think everyone has to be nice or else it's bad. And that's not true. Being nice is like a beautiful expression of the soul. It's not like you need to or else you're bad. It's like an artistic expression of the soul to be nice to someone, to be kind. It's beautiful, but it's not like the standard requirement of what it means to exist. It's a standard requirement of what it means to exist in higher harmony, but we're on the 3D. And then getting mad at someone for not being kind is not very kind. So it's ironic. Sarah said they're still coping. Yeah, a lot of people are still coping with life instead of thriving. They're victimized by life. They're like, how many more meditations until I'm rich? How many more of this until this happens? How, like, they're very transactional. They're like they're trying to milk life for something. They don't realize that life is a blessing. It already is beautiful. It's already amazing. And if you can't receive that, then you can't receive money in alignment either, because you're bypassing the beauty and the abundance that you already have. All right, before we get out of here, just wanted to say thanks for joining today. I'm offering some free clarity calls. So they're 30-minute Zoom sessions for people that are interested in learning more about my other programs. And also it's a life audit. So we go over what's going on in your life and pinpoint the exact issues that are holding you back. And then also I wanted to invite you all that are watching to my free community, which is called Circle of Wisdom Light, where we have 1 to 2 mentorship sessions per month with several different mentors who are all experts in different areas of life. And it's a great place to connect with spiritual community. So Sarah, a great place to meet other psychics and other spiritual developed individuals is in this community. There's a bunch of mystics and awakened people. And it's very cool. So everything about that, if you go to my channel, you can find all about it. It's on my link tree. It has like everything. It has the free call. It has the free group. And yeah, and my full-time job is coaching. So for those of you that are looking for a spiritual coach, I have a program called Rebalance, That's an 8-week spiritual coaching program that takes you into being a completely different person by the end of it. It's very advanced, very high level, and it's also very fun, but also it's very intense and can be difficult for some people. So for people that are looking for a higher level of spiritual growth, I also offer an 8-week mentorship program, which is called Rebalance. And then I have customized one-on-one plans that I work with people as well. So thank you so much for joining today, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.